Welcome back everybody to another predictions video. This is going to take us from Friday all the way through to Sunday. So if you're watching from the future, don't worry, just hover over the timestamps and find the day that you are currently experiencing. We're going to use quick filters and we're going to try and find games that are good for BTTS and over 2.5 goals. We will end the video by taking a look at the trends pages as well. So we'll have a little bit of fun with the filters and we'll say that we want to see teams, both teams have played 10 or more games. And for BTTS, if you've watched the channel for a while, you'll know that I favour away teams. So let's look at an away team that has a PPG of, let's say 1.5 or more away from home. Then we can also go on the away team. We can say, show me teams where in the last 10 games, they've scored in at least 8. And again, we're just adding this for the away team so far. Now you could search and see what games you get, but we might want to add some rules for the home team. So let's look at the home team and say that their points per game at home is 1.2 or more. So they can handle themselves, and then we want to qualify that they can concede goals as well. In fact, let's look at the total goals on average at their home ground, and we'll just say, oops, I went way higher than I needed to there. Let's go 1.9. So that's a decent set of rules. You can add so much more, and we might do, but I like to just create the filters quickly, search, see what we get, see if there's any things that stand out that we just want to clear out straight away, maybe clean sheets or whatever. And actually what we can do is lean on the probability model. We will add the probability model value here. Over 2.5 goals, let's put this to 38%, and we'll hit search. And this is Wednesday as I record this, but we're not going to be looking at Wednesday. We're going to jump to Friday, and we've got, I knew it'd be there, the A-League. So we can see on the stats scroller here, over 2.5 goals at home for Brisbane Roar is 100%, BTTS 71%. And the last few times that I've mentioned the A-League on this channel, it's just gone as expected. I think the previous games were like 3-1, 3-2, the ones that we covered for over 2.5 goals from the trends pages. And you can see that Wellington Phoenix are in good form here. They've lost 2 games all season. Brisbane Roar, not very good. They are conceding for fun. So no clean sheet in a long time for Brisbane Roar. And will that continue? Well, I wouldn't think so. Let's have a look at the probability model to see what we will get on the predictions game. 1.63 for over 2.5 goals. I do like the look of that. We'll add that to our predictions on odd alerts. So in terms of the odds, what are we working with here? BTTS 1.5. That looks okay for a potential double. Remember that, doubles are probably the max that I would suggest. On this channel, I will always recommend singles and doubles. They are the way. Over 2.5 goals, a little bit higher actually, 1.57. So 1.57 combined with something else that we might find with this filter. So remember, in this video, we are looking for goals. We are looking for BTTS. That's our first game out the way. Let me know what you think of all these games in the comments. And speaking of comments, Bankoff_EU, you are the winner of the previous time that I told people to comment to enter a draw for Odd Alerts Pro. So you can now access these filters and create quick filters on thousands of games. I have commented on your comment, telling you to get in touch to activate the free month. So hopefully you see that soon, and we can get you sorted out before the weekend. Any comment on this video, whether it's you saying that you want me to cover a certain market next week, whether it's the fact that you think Brisbane Roar are going to get that clean sheet that they haven't had in, 10 games, any comment, you will automatically be entered into a draw. Now, one cool thing about the quick filters as well, as we just open the rules again, you can click this circle to sort all of the games by that stat. So if we look at the away form, away points per game, and then we hit search again, we don't have to go on the calendar again. It remembers the day. So PSG, straight away, top of the table. Let's take a look at their recent form. Could there be some value in this game? So they've won 68% of away games at PSG. If we take a look at the data, well, Strasbourg. This could be an interesting game, couldn't it? PSG drawing that last game, Brest coming back into it. Away from home, yeah, they're performing as you might expect, PSG, and you would expect them to win this game. So can Strasbourg get a goal? That's the question. We are looking at BTTS and over 2.5 goals. Remember, not necessarily together. Maybe there will be some games that fit that line, but in this case, 1.79 is the best you're going to get for BTTS. For over 2.5 goals, 1.69 on 1xbet. So let's have a look at the probability model. And you can see over 2.5 goals, 55%. The away win, 1.6. I'm going to go with BTTS, 1.97. We can have a look at the rankings quickly for this game week. Gezja, again, he is, he's always thereabouts. Rob, looks like he hasn't made his predictions yet. He's always thereabouts as well. It's close, isn't it, at the top at the moment as I record this on Wednesday. You get 28 predictions per week, and if you finish top of this list, you will get a free month of Pro. You get $12.99 added to your account. So interestingly, this list for Friday, it's not that long. The shortlist isn't that long, so you might want to take a look at all these games. We've got some good games here, actually. We've got teams like Borussia Dortmund playing on Friday as well. If we just look at the goals here, both of these teams have scored 2 or more goals per game on average. No nil-nils away from home for Dortmund. Heidenheim are in decent form. BTTS in the last 4 games, 3 draws in a row. At home, they have lost just twice. Although they haven't played Bayern Munich yet, that's the thing that stands out. They haven't played Leverkusen yet, and they are playing Dortmund now for the first time. So, Dortmund away from home, 7 goals in the last couple of games, and only 4 victories. But those last couple, have they turned a corner? What was the head-to-head like for these two teams? 2-2 in the previous meeting. That was back in September. Let's take a look at the odds again for this game. It's a bit lower for the majority of markets, 1.44. So what we can do here is set an alert on this game. BTTS 1.4, tell me if it hits evens. Final game that we'll check out from Friday then, Galatasaray away from home this time. I've mentioned them on a couple of the previous videos, and yeah, they've been conceding goals, haven't they, but coming back, and they went 1-0 down in both of those last games. The odds before the game were 1.13, and they peaked at over evens in both of those games, so hopefully some of you got on. I know some people from Twitter did. They sent some screenshots and whatnot, but you can see these are pretty high-scoring games, 5-1, 3-1, 2-1, and Samsunspor, they are unbeaten in 4 games, just 1 defeat in the last 6, and that was to the team that is currently third. 4-2 was the score back in September, but the game before that was in 2012, so I'm guessing this team has just come up, and they're doing all right, to be fair, aren't they, especially at home. 3 clean sheets in a row, under 2.5 goals in the last 4, so personally for me, I might miss this one in terms of pre-match, of course, but I think we've just got to set an alert for Galatasaray again, and to be fair, they're 1.57 here away from home. How different is their record? I mean, home form is superb, away form, a few draws in there, and 1 defeat, so we will set an alert for this one just in case. Tell me if it hits evens, or, tell me if Galatasaray concede first again. So that was Friday's games, and whilst we move on to Saturday, leave a comment. What do you think about these games? Every comment will be automatically entered into a draw to win Odd Alerts Pro, which includes many features, but one of them is this Quick Filters tool, the ability to just filter through thousands and thousands of games. And what have we got here? 8 games that are just what we want. You can adjust this to fit your needs. You could change this to 2 points per game. We search again, and now we have 3 teams. It's really quick, and oops, get the stats back there. And actually, you know what? Because you've been good, let's take a look at one more game from Friday, because this bottom game here, Holstein Kiel, Kyle Holstein Magdeburg. My pronunciation today, sorry guys, it's all over the place. Now the thing that stood out for me was on the stats scroller here. Both of these teams have scored in 100% of games played home versus away. It's 13th hosting 3rd, but it is the home team that averages more goals scored. So this is kind of the perfect situation for me. As you can see there, the failed to score percent, the 0-0 percent, the odds are 1.5. So yeah, 1.5, maybe 1.57 for the Brisbane Roar game. You could maybe make a double from these Friday games. That's kind of what I like to do with quick filters, just create sensible doubles, if you will. Got to make sure probability is on your side here. So try and avoid the massive accumulators this week if you can. Now on to Saturday's games, and yes, I do look a little bit different. It is a different day for me, and we can see this is Thursday now. But if we go to Saturday, There should be more games than there was on Friday. We've got Celtic playing away from home in the Scottish Premiership. More football from Australia. Goals, goals, goals down under. Hungary, over the years, has been a fantastic place for goals. Let's take a look at that game. This is the Bank Liga in Hungary, and if we check out the stats, it is 12th, hosting second. This away team certainly had a dominant spell at the start of the season, scoring loads of goals, but just 2 victories in the last 7 games. They've got a good record against this team, and they haven't conceded a goal since 2022. That's the first thing that stands out. With these filters as well, by the way, and these videos, this isn't premeditated. I've not seen these games before. And I only mention that because the context of the video should be to sort of learn about a game as I learn about a game. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there that'll just be, here are my tips. Thanks. See you next week. And, whilst we do put bets together, I think it's important to understand how you got there so that you can do it yourself as well. And just be more confident in placing bets, generally speaking. And another thing that I believe is important is, saying no to games, certainly. Always stress that on this channel. And just the clean sheet record here, I would expect the away team to be favourites for this game. But again, I just think there's risk. Look at that. I mean, 1.4 given their recent form, I would not touch that. And I don't think there's value there at all. Yes, they've got a good record against this team recently, but I would be looking for odds much higher than that given what we know about the game. What we can also do is change the stat scroller. So you see at the bottom of the screen here, you've got this scroller overlay. You can click this and then you can look at probability, you can look at the latest odds. These are also keyboard shortcuts, so you can hit 5 if you're on desktop, and you will then see the probability model. And it's color-coded, it's nice and easy to see. We can see over 1.5 goals, 81% here, 75%. If you want to add this in, I think we added it in, didn't we, to the filter, so we can actually now sort by the probability model, and just change that at any time. And it'll go away, get the games again, and Ajax versus PSV. Well, let's jump into that straight away. And this is, to be honest, this is why I love quick filters. And I like the trends pages as well, don't get me wrong. But the ability to sort, to filter, to adjust really quickly, I just find it a great way to come across football games. And Ajax versus PSV. Now, I checked the odds for this recently. It went out on the Trends Digest. I believe PSV are evens to win this game. Evens to win a game of football, yeah. So, I mean, you might want to just take that straight away, just given how they're playing. We will see, and we've mentioned Ajax recently on this very channel because they are banging form. We actually placed a bet for this game, didn't we? Ajax and over 2.5 goals, and I wouldn't back them here just because of PSV and how superb they are. They're blowing everybody away. The previous game against Ajax was a 5-2 victory. Ajax, of course, that was the 29th of October. So what were they doing around that time? No, that was in the midst. It was the final game, actually. Maybe it was the game that sacked the previous manager, but there's no doubt they've turned it around. But they are still conceding plenty and plenty of goals, and I think they will concede certainly at least 1 goal in this game. I would not bet against PSV. So what can you get from this game? Let's look at the double chance, because you could have a double chance, depending on what it is, 1.36 and over 2.5 goals. So you cover the draw. But again, maybe you just want to go with PSV as an outright winner and then stick something else on. That is something that I wanted to ask you as well. Of all these games that we look at today, I want you to create a double, and that can be a regular thing, so we can look through games. I'll create a double at the end, and you create a double from all the games that we've mentioned, because I think there's enough, and there's enough markets, and the odds are pretty decent for some of these games as well. So I think for me, PSV are going to go with my double, and that's the base of the double. So evens is a pretty good start. I'll usually aim for odds of around 3-4 when I do these doubles, and they are just for fun, but that doesn't mean they can't do well, and it's a good way to just dip into other markets, experiment with different markets, although I do just always revert back to BTTS usually, or half with most goals sometimes. So I'm going to add this as my prediction on odd alerts, and actually 2.41 is the odds that I'm going to get, the points that I'm going to get back from the probability model. So actually on odd alerts, we are giving PSV even less of a chance, given how Ajax have been playing recently. I think it shows how much Ajax have improved, to be honest, and the type of performances they're putting in and the teams that they're beating. They've got Henderson coming in as well now. I'm not sure what the status of his work permit is. I'm sure he must be able to play by now. And if they can keep some clean sheets, they've had no clean sheets in a very long time. And as you can see, BTTS in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row. So yeah, that one should be a fun game. That is on Saturday at 7 p.m. We'll take a look at this one as well then. Bolton Barnsley in League One, second against fifth. Now my initial thoughts, this is without looking at the data, is that this could be a tight game because I know Bolton have got a great defence. They're a great team, probably one of the best teams in League One, to be honest. And you can see their form here. They played a lot of games recently as well. If we toggle this to last 25, just to see every competition, we will see a cup game against Blackpool, which went to penalties, and then you've got the FA Cup games. They went to a replay against Luton, so they played a lot of football. How many games did they play in January? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in January. I still think Bolton will be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. They are very good. Ian Evatt is a great manager, to be fair. Did superb with Barrow as well, and then he's gone on to Bolton. And again, I say this a lot, but you've got to just give managers time, because there was a bit of a wobble at Bolton with Evatt, but it was clear that, you know, he's the man for the job. He showed at Barrow that he can play some great football as well. And yeah, I think he's got a bright future, former Blackpool centre-back. Barnsley's away form is very, very good. They are scoring plenty of goals, and actually they have only failed to score in one away game this season. That was at Derby, who was 7th at the time. The head-to-head looks like this. Barnsley 1-0 in that previous game. Barnsley unbeaten in the last couple of games. They played 3 times in 2023, and it was a victory for each team and a draw. So this one could be a tight game, as I thought. Could be evenly matched, as I thought, and it could go either way, as I thought. Home advantage might mean something, though, for Bolton. One of those defeats in there was to Luton Town, Premier League Luton Town. They're averaging over 2 goals per game at home as well. There hasn't been a 0-0 between these teams when you're looking at the home form and the away form. If we toggle this to overall, there has been 1 0-0 and still no 0-0. So 0 0-0s for Barnsley this season. So BTTS, actually, I do quite like this for this one, but the odds 1.75. Surprising. I was thinking I would have to set an alert for this one, but I think that the defence and the status of the game, it's second against fifth, and we're getting into a period of the season now in February where if you put in a good spell of form now, you know, it could really mean a lot come the end of the season. So yeah, games could get tighter. We could see more yellow cards because of that. But this one, 1.75, I'm quite liking. Let me know what you think about this one. Is it going to go into your double? Get your comments in the comments. So we've got a game here in Azerbaijan, and I think it's a good chance to show you how I might adapt to filter given new findings. So we look at this game, and Qarabag, you know, they are the dominant team. They've won 75% of all games. They score for fun. But Sabale, that they're in this filter because you would look at them, and we've got a PPG rule for the home team, so we know that they can at least, you know, pick up points and handle themselves. But what we didn't specify was the number of clean sheets. Now, 3 clean sheets here in the last 3 home games for Sabale. Let's edit that. So what we're going to do is add a rule. And we've got the home team here. So we could say conceded a goal. And let's just say last 10 overall, we want to make it 80%. And let's save that for the home team and hit search and see how many games are now here. So Ajax are still there. Aberdeen are still there. The team we were just looking at, Sabale was it? They're not here anymore. So that is a good way to just quickly narrow things down. But it also shows the importance of actually just looking at the different data points and asking why this has still come through the filter, and then you can tighten the filter up a little bit. That's why it's better to start with 2 or 3 rules. Let's take a look at another one of these then, and then we will jump to Sunday. So feel free to check out all these games on the site as well if you want. The game I'm going to pick next is Eastleigh Chesterfield. So Chesterfield away, they are top of the league. Interesting as well that a lot of these away teams that we've picked, in fact all of them, are top apart from 1. So we've got a PPG rule for the away team of 2 or more. So in the majority of leagues, it looks like over 2 points per game can get you top of the table. So Chesterfield, away at Eastleigh, 11th against top of the table. They've won 83% of games, Chesterfield, and I mean, they're down in the National League now. They'll be hoping to get back out. They were pretty bad when they were in the Football League. Looks like they have done something right, though, because they are top and by some distance. Looking at the results, they are in great scoring form. They scored 1 at home to Woking, who are 20th, which is interesting, given that that's considerably lower than 11th. Eastleigh, well, that's not good form, is it? They've conceded 4 goals in 4 of the last 5 games. Wow. At home, it's not as bad, but one of those games where they conceded 4 was on New Year's Day. Is that just a hangover, potentially? They've conceded 8 in the last couple of games, and actually they've conceded 2 first-half goals in both of those games as well. So, this game's interesting. Let's take a look at the odds then, see what the bookies are actually giving us. So heavy favourites are Chesterfield. 1.6 with Bet365. That's quite nice. If we go on our predictions, 1.61. So yeah, very close. The odd alerts probability model and Bet365 at this moment in time. A few other bookmakers shorter odds. So 1.6 on Bet365. That looks like a good one to add to a double. Let us all know in the comments what games you are going to add to your double from these lists. On to Sunday then, and a couple of games have come up in the filter, and we added that minimum conceded value, didn't we, for the home team recently? So that's why the number of games has dropped. I would imagine we can toggle it off in a minute and see the difference, but I quite like it. It's a good rule to have in, and the games are massive in the Netherlands this weekend. 4th against 2nd, and Feyenoord, look at their form. They're playing pretty well. 0-0 in the previous game against 3rd placed FC Twente, but away from home they've scored in every game, and they've scored 2 or more in all but 1 game. And that as well was against FC Twente. So, got their number a little bit this season. For AZ at home, they have conceded in the last 3 games. Their home record isn't bad, though, which makes me think they're a decent team. Now, if we look at the table, there is a bit of a gap. There is a bit of a difference in quality between PSV and everyone, and then Feyenoord and everyone. And then I'd say FC Twente and AZ are doing pretty well. And given that FC Twente have caused Feyenoord problems, I would think they're in a group of teams that can cause them problems this season. Certainly, there is a bit of a difference in class, and Ajax are pushing up now as well. So the top 5, essentially, it looks like, for this division, can all be competitive against each other. And then you've got PSV that are in a bit of a league of their own, I think. So I would actually say, because of all of that, BTTS looks pretty good for this one. Remember, that was the goal of the filter, wasn't it? BTTS or over 2.5 goals. 1.67. What we will do is set an alert for this. So we'll go to goals, BTTS. Let me know if it hits evens. Over 2.5 goals, 1.67. Yeah, I fancy that more, to be honest, because I think these kind of games, if both teams score, the question always then becomes, can it get out of hand? And when these teams, they're both capable of scoring goals. They've both got games recently with 4-5 goals in their games. And as I said at the start of the video, any comment, you'll automatically be entered into a draw to win Odd Alerts Pro. And finally, from Hungary, Paxi SE versus Puskás. So first hosting 4th. And these filters, they're giving us some good games, aren't they? Because we're making sure that these teams are pretty good. Let's take a look at the home form versus the away form. So yeah, table topping Paxi, very good at home. Unbeaten at home in terms of the goals. Oh, look at those goals conceded. Just 5 goals conceded at home this season. They've scored in the majority of games, but Puskás has scored in every away game. No 0-0s this season. BTTS in 75% of games. A goal in every game, as I've just mentioned. They've scored in every game, as I've just mentioned, but they have also conceded in 75% of games there at the bottom, which is, quite a good indicator for BTTS. But the risk here comes from the clean sheet record, doesn't it? And the goals conceded, or their lack of. That said, we're not working with the biggest sample size in the world at home, but in recent games, and this is what we confirmed with the filter recently, wasn't it? That in recent games, the home team has to be conceding in the majority. It was 8 out of the last 10, wasn't it? So, Paxi, despite just conceding, 5 goals at home all season, 5 goals at home all season. Let's have a look what the odds are for BTTS in this game. The first thing I notice actually here is that they're table topping this team, yet they're over evens to win. They are unbeaten at home. So you know, I know we're looking at BTTS, but also this is something that is quite interesting. And straight away, this is a game that I would usually maybe look at draw no bet and over 2.5 goals, or draw no bet and over 1.5 goals, or double chance. 1.62 for BTTS here as well. What is the double chance? It is 1.37, which is not really appealing to me. And the draw no bet 1.65. Okay, it's time to jump over to Bet365. Okay, here we are then. I've got 7 selections in here, and now I start the task of removing some and keeping. I think what I've got my eye on is that Paxi and Yes as a single at 4. I really like that, given, you know, they're unbeaten at home, but of course they match the quick filter for goals conceded by a home team, but they're still this dominant team at the top of the table. Over 2.5, 1.57 for the Brisbane Roar game. We mentioned that on Friday. I think I've missed a few games off here because some of the games were more geared towards the alerts, you know, the odds 1.44 or something like that. Give it 10-15 minutes in the game, the odds might be pushing 1.7, 1.8. And you can find that you get nice in-play doubles on a Saturday, especially using the alerts in that way. So one game that I'm definitely going to keep is Eastleigh-Chesterfield. And I do like Bolton Barnsley as well. Keep that as a sort of EFL double. And then we have Paxi and Yes. The PSG one I'm quite enticed by, just given how they do concede a bit more this season. And this bottom one here from Germany, wasn't it? 1.5. I think that's just on the brink for me. I mean, you could maybe create a double with that for sure. But that'll be a good one for the alerts. Both of these teams have scored in every game, you know, when you're looking at the home form against the away form. And there's a lot of goals in their games as well, but we are going to remove that, so that is my double there, 1.75 and 1.8, and then Paxi and Yes. Let's just remove Paxi and Yes as the single. We are going to play that as a single, just to see what these odds are. 3.15. So that's my double. From those games and from all the games that I've mentioned, what is yours? And if you want to throw something else in there for everyone else to learn from, if you've got a game that you've found, let us all know in the comments. And if you've got any feedback on these videos, if there's anything that you like about them, are they too long? Do you want it to just be a bit shorter? Do you want me to look at different markets? Do you prefer it when I look at the trends pages? Let me know. I'm all ears, and I want to improve. I want to try and put 2 videos out per week. One that covers midweek games, and then one that covers weekend games as well. So thank you as always for watching, and enjoy. And if you haven't done it yet, why not subscribe to the Trends Digest on Telegram? You can find the link in the description of this video. It is my personal notes on games that I'm looking at on the website as I just, you know, go through the day. And there'll usually be about 3 posts per day, so I'm not going to bombard you. There won't be any spam. Just pretty interesting and upcoming football matches.